Hi, my name is Jason Bunn-Parsons, and I'm director of the Autism Ambassadors Corps. And with me is my mentor, Sue Golubock. And this is going to be the first of a series of 6 videos called Analysis of the Autism Educational System. I'll get into that a little bit more later. But first, we need to discuss what actually qualifies Sue and I to provide this analysis. So, because Sue has, the much more loftier credentials, I'm going to go ahead and let her go first as far as talking about her background, that has given her this expertise.
Thank you, Jason. Hi, my name is Sue Golubock, and I knew by kindergarten that I was different from my peers. Um, I was so aware of my differences that I chose a career as an occupational therapist because it allowed me to learn what I was passionate to learn, which was why my brain worked differently. I worked for over 30 years, predominantly in school systems, because I felt I could learn the most of what I was most interested in. I specialized in sensory processing, executive functioning, went back and got a master's degree in assistive technology, all of which helped me as well as my clients. And it wasn't until age 50 that I discovered autism, that you could be intelligent and functioning and still be autistic. Um, and I was diagnosed within 2 years after that. I spent the next 10 years involved in the autism community, um, uh, in organizing, running, and speaking at conferences. I partnered with an autistic, voc rehab counselor, um, and we started a business called Making Sense of Autism. We went around and gave presentations, lectures to conferences, schools, clinics, um, all in terms of talking about working with autistics from the autistic perspective. I am currently partnering with a speech language pathologist to research whether the approach that I utilized or developed it can be taught to other professionals to use effectively the methods that I had used with my autistic clients, um, uh, and make that paradigm shift from looking at from their perspective to our perspective. I am a very strong believer in research, and everything that I have introduced in the training is very well researched. Um, I feel that I had wasted 50 years trying to be, because I thought I had no other choice, to be like everyone else, um, but at the cost of a sense of self and PTSD. So, Jason, back to you.
Okay, so as far as me, well, okay, let's try this again. My parents adopted a younger sister named Kelly back in 1976 when I was 7 years old, who had fetal alcohol syndrome, which mimicked signs of Down syndrome. Okay, and so that got me started in the child care, disability care, you know, you know, um, path. Personally as a volunteer and professionally, and so then when I moved here to Arizona in '86, my first experience in a structured um, environments was at Parkway Elementary School, which at the time all of the special ed students were segregated in their own school, and so because Parkway was right next door to Mesa High, where I would graduate high school from. They had a program called PIC, Participant Community, in which we would volunteer a class period a day in order to go and work with these students. And so I was assigned to Julie Valinetti's class. So shout out to her and her two assistants, Kim Diaz and Judy Cook. Um, and so hopefully this video gets around to him. So it's like, hey, remember me? Got a gray beard now. But anyways, and so and many of my jobs, since then, have been it, that would be classified either as childcare and or disability care, ranging from your average daycare center, working, as a that they keep changing the title, but basically an assistant teacher, IA, whatever you want to call it. With the public schools, I've worked in group homes with individuals with disabilities. I've worked in day programs with adults with disabilities. So basically, my my experience, in childcare slash disability care is about as diverse as you can have without having a college degree. Okay, and so that I eventually got identified as an autistic, by my mom, after, at the time she was a LPN, licensed whatever LPN. She's a nurse, anyways, or she was a nurse. She's now retired, anyways. And so she went to an in service that was, put on by SARC, Southwest Autism Research and Resource Center. And as they were, presenting this material, it's like, that's my son you're talking about. And so she presented me the information. I eventually accepted it for various reasons. Not going to go into all that. And um, and so I went, and got diagnosed a few months later, and then by September of 2009, I found Sue's group, and so she's been mentoring me ever since. And so right now I'm currently working at a elementary school, um, Emerson Elementary, here, in Phoenix, Arizona, part of the Phoenix Elementary School District. And so, anyways, so 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 my experiences, with this, not just with my current employer, but again, when I'm talking about the system, I'm talking about about something that goes way beyond just what I've been experiencing at Emerson, which all in all is one of the two best experiences I've ever had, working in childcare slash disability care. The other one would be, United Cerebral Palsy. And unfortunately I lost that job due to COVID. They tried to, keep us on as long as possible, but when you had a year and a half worth of fundraisers wiped out because you couldn't do them, it's hard for them to, keep going. But anyways, so so when we're talking about analyzing the system, we're this isn't going to be all about bashing the system. In fact, Sue and I discussed the need for us to point out that there have been a lot of improvements. Sue, over these years has talked about, some of the difficulties that she had, not just in her schooling, but also with her coworkers initially, and it's very clear that things are changing, that the educators are being a lot more open-minded, and they're wanting the input of autistics. And so it is important, if you want to encourage more change, you need to recognize the change that's already happened and praise those individuals for that change. And so that's going to be the crux of the first two videos, is talking about my experiences, all the positive experiences that I've had, with Emerson. And so I'm definitely going to give a list of people that so in the second so the next video, yes, it's going to be specifically, well, next two videos will be pertaining to those experiences. The first video will be, acknowledging, the great stuff that's been done by members of the staff who are not part of the Autism Self-Contained program, okay, which is part of Emerson. Okay, and I'm in that program, but there are a lot of other um, um, but it is an elementary school, and so and so that there's just a lot of other people outside the program that have been so supportive of us that that I definitely want to make a point to give a shout out to. So I'm going to list them off so that way the we'll make sure that everybody's watching tomorrow's video when I'm giving them shout outs so they can hear what's so great about them. And so it starts with Principal Nick Lodato, and then the vice principal. Well, okay, so he's not officially vice principal because there's not enough kids there to have the title of vice principal. So instead, they give him the acronym IEIS. Ask him what that stands for. Basically, my understanding is vice principal plus, because not only does he do the work of vice principal, but they throw a few more things onto him as well. That's my understanding. Okay, and so and then office manager Fabiola, the pre-K teacher Danielle, um, can't, Millette, something like that. Kindergarten teacher Amari Brown. First grade teacher Stephanie. I cannot even begin to pronounce her last name. Sorry, but you know who you are. Okay, then scrolling down to um, okay to okay the art teacher, the Miss Newbell. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your first name. Um, um, the music teacher Emily Flathers, social worker Julie Roberts, um, speech teacher Lorraine. Sorry, can't pronounce your last name. The other speech teacher Christine Jenner, um, PT OT therapist Ben um, um, Pevy, and I did mention the school psychologist, right? Meredith Swank. I think I actually skipped her, but anyways, and so and so I definitely will be highlighting the good things that they have done in support of the autism program, even if they don't even realize it. And so then the next video will be talking specifically about the lead teachers when I started, not this past school year, but the previous school year, because back when we started, talking about organizing a autistic advocacy group, okay, and so one of the things I was emphasizing the need, for us to build bridges with the parents. One of the people in our at our Saturday meetings, like, no, the parents will not, or the teachers will not listen. The teachers will not listen, and she was just angrily adamant that the teachers are not going to listen. Well, guess what? All four of these teachers listened. Okay. And all of them were very open to what I had to say, and and so starting off with Adam Lovelady, who this past school year was the master teacher. It was very clear that he had been listening to the grievances of the autistic community long before I ever showed up. Okay, and then also I'm going to give a special shout out to Miss Brianna, because of even though she was at Lowell last year, nevertheless some things that she's done this year deserve special recognition. And then I'm going to be recognizing 5 specific IAs. One of them whose name, because I don't interact with her a lot. So Miss Brown, okay, then Miss Anna, Miss Nunez, Miss Naomi, and that then also I'm going to give a special shout out to Miss Carla, who I worked with this year. And so there's just so many people that have done praiseworthy things, and this needs to be acknowledged, that there is so much good happening no in the schools. Okay, and so that's going to be parts 2 and 3. Okay, part 4 is going to be talking about the my our ops. Well, I'll be her Sue and I will be splitting it. So I'll be doing the first half talking about my observations of what the end results I've been observing as far as that, these kids are just getting out of school, they join our adult support groups, and basically the the concerns that I have, that over the fact that, yes, that the system is so focused on getting them through its part, it's not asking what is the end result. And Sue is going to be providing some research data that supports that. That's that's uh, well, Sue, explain, the research data that you'll be doing, you'll be presenting. You know,
Yeah. Um, in researching for the materials that I'm presenting in my training sessions, um, I've come across a number of studies. Um, one of which says that autistics, if they are told they're on the autism spectrum early in life, actually end up having a better quality of life. So that's one factor that's really important that research has pointed out to us. Instead of saying, well, we don't want to label them and delaying the diagnosis does more harm than good. And there's a lot of therapists, excuse me, autistic adults out there that have a very late diagnosis and they enter into our support group. And they are very um, lost, confused, and as Jason once pointed out, in a very survival mode. So research is supporting what we are actually seeing with the adults in our support group and their experiences from when they were children.
so anyway, so you'll go into more detail on that in the fourth video. Okay, fifth video is going to be talking about specific deficits in the system. Okay, and again, what you know, my current coworkers should not think that I'm about to do an expose just bashing them, because again, when I'm talking about my experiences with the system, I'm talking about going all the way back to my junior year of high school. February of 1986 is when I first started being involved in the system. Okay, and so and again, Emerson is one of the top two most positive experiences. Despite there have been some little bit issues every now and then with certain staff members. The bottom line is Emerson is what one of the top two most positive experiences that I have had working in the childcare slash disability care industries. And so it's and anyway, so then I yeah, so then so then the final video, that's video 5. Okay, right? So, and then the final video, we're going to be talking about the ABA. Okay, it's a type of therapy that is absolutely villainized in the autistic advocacy community. And and a lot of it is for what it used to be. Okay, instead of what it actually is today. And I did even though I heard so many horror stories about it a couple of years ago, I decide, I need to form my own opinion, not just have it assigned to me. And so I was an ABA tech for a short amount of time, and all the horror stories are wrong. It certainly did not happen at my clinic. Nevertheless, I definitely see some flaws in the system. Nevertheless, I definitely want to point out the fact that even though the training done by the their overview board. I not the BCAB, I think that's what it's called. But their guidelines. It talks about how stimming is something negative, needs to be stopped. Well, the thing is, at the clinic, it was very they made it very clear that they accept the explanation from the autistics that it is a means a therapeutic means uh, of uh, uh,
Self-regulating.
yes, yeah, thank you. And that trying to stop it is just creating fights that don't accomplish anything. And so it's becoming clear to me that there's the textbook ABA, and then there's the the uh shoot that now I'm trying to think of the word that's the 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 real world ABA. It's still not the um smart ABA. I'm sorry, my brain just died on me. I can't think of the actual word that I was trying to think of. Sensible ABA. That's what the word I'm trying to think of. There's a difference between the textbook ABA, being mandated by the BCAB, and the sensible ABA that's actually being applied by the actual current practitioners. And so Sue and I discussed with Sue about about expressing the things that we disagree with about the textbook ABA, in a way that might encourage a couple of the practitioners to want to come in dialogue with us about how they feel about these issues. And because that this is again is how you bring about change, is by having constructive dialogue where you're showing respect to people that have differences of opinion, so that way they can feel comfortable going and talking to you, without feeling like you're going to be demonized. And quite frankly, yes, the majority of the autistic advocates do demonize the ABA practitioners, as well as the parents that send their children to ABA, and this is completely unfair, completely inaccurate. So we will close this off, but the series off by discussing what's these issues. So, anyways, and as far as what's I'm going to be doing, throughout the summer, is I'm going to be in front of the Burton Bar branch of the Phoenix Public Libraries on central, just south of McDowell. And I'll be doing two things. One, a IA recruitment drive, because that's been one of our major problems, is not having enough IAs, to properly staff all the rooms in order to reduce the stress level, increase the quality of education that we can provide these children. And then the other thing is reaching out to the politicians, and making them known that there are things that need to be changed, all the way from Congress and the President of the United States right down to the school boards, the district school boards, which case of Phoenix Elementary School, they refer to as their governing board. Okay, whatever you want to call yourselves. Okay, we need people in office who are willing to listen to these concerns, and take these concerns seriously about how the system needs to be questioned in certain areas, in order for it to become more effective. Okay, and to make it very clear, I am going to be without a paycheck for 2.5 months. Okay, I can afford to do this because even though I'm a nobody, for as far as these politicians are concerned, I'm a nobody. But in reality, I do have the support of a number of the members of our community. One of whom is my landlord slash roommate, who is going to be understanding, if I am a little bit low on paying rent come August, September, that he will cut me some slack. So I will be able, my finances may be on fumes, but I will be able to do this. And I'm pointing this out because, whether or not you buy into my positions, do not question my commitment to my community. Okay, I am very committed. Okay, and so what I'm going to be doing over the summer is going to be a demonstration that I'm very serious about how these things need to change if we're going to improve the quality of education of the autistic children currently and in the future going through our public schools. So, Sue, would you like to make a closing comment?
Thank you, Jason. Um, I support everything that Jason is saying. Um, Jason has thought out very thoroughly. He has some very creative um, ideas to present to help solve some of what we see as remaining problems in the system. Um, and so, as his mentor, I fully support what he's trying to do. Um, and again, the more we can understand and see things from the autistic perspective, the more it's going to make sense, and it's going to be easier for those who work with us to better understand why some of these changes are going to work better than what they're doing right now. And it's difficult to understand what you've never experienced. And that's why we want to share our experiences with you so that you have a better understanding. And we're very much looking forward to, and I will support Jason in any efforts that he's making. Thank you, Jason.
And thank you, Sue. And so I will be getting together with you at the same time tomorrow to continue on, and hopefully, um, that this live broadcast is of good enough quality to where we can continue to do this, so that way people can comment on them. But right now, just from my perspective, it did sound like your voice was fading out a lot. So I'm not sure that the live broadcast, I we may just have to pre-record this and upload it to YouTube right after we gets off. But we'll just have to see, you know yeah, I'm just gonna have to play the video once I end the broadcast to see if this is going to be feasible. But anyway, so hopefully it will be feasible. And so, but nevertheless, one way or another, I'll be talking with you tomorrow at this time. So have a good day.
Okay. Thank you.